Today's lesson is about the slope of a line. First off, let's go over a little bit about what the slope of a line is, kind of the big idea, the big picture here. The slope is the rise over the run. That's what you'll hear a lot of the time. What that means is that it's the vertical change, or the change up and down, divided by the horizontal change, or the change left to right. In math terms, we would say it's the difference between the two y values and divided by the difference between the two x values. In other words, this here. So essentially we've got about 4 different things. I'm just trying to explain a little bit about what they mean and how they translate into math. But essentially slope is the vertical change, the horizontal change, and we measure that by saying a y value, y2 minus y1, divided by x2 minus x1. I'm going to show some examples of that. But first off, let's chat again a little bit about kind of the big picture of slope. If you have a line and it's moving from, and you're looking at it from left to right, if it's going up, that's going to be a positive slope. All right, so this one here is a positive. And if you look at the slope, again going from left to right, and it's going down, then that means that it has a negative slope. So a positive slope when you're moving left to right is going up, and a negative slope when you're moving left to right is going down. There are 2 other types of slope. A slope of a line that just doesn't go up or down, and that is called a zero slope. All right, this is zero slope. It has no slope. And then there's the other one that's going straight up and down, and that's an undefined slope. Okay, so any line going straight up and down has an undefined slope, and then the lines that are going completely horizontal has a slope of 0. In other words, the rise over the run, there is no rise, right? And in this one here, there is no run, right? And if the run is equal to 0, that's on the bottom, you get an undefined slope. So let's go ahead and find the slope value using a graph. We've got a graph here. And usually when you get a graph, you want to find 2 points. Okay? Sometimes you'll be able to find them pretty easily. Sometimes they'll be right next to each other. But you want to find 2 points that are pretty clear on the graph. And again, it doesn't really matter which points they are. As long as they are on this line, you'll be able to do this. So you start out by looking at the rise. The rise is the change vertically. All right? So however far it is from this one to this one, the change vertically is the rise. Starting at this point, because we always move left to right, if you are going down, it is a negative number. If you're going up, it's a positive number. So in this case, it is down 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 points. We go down 5, so we would say we have a negative 5 rise. The next thing that we want to look at is the run. The run is the horizontal change. All right, so we start here in line in line with that one, and we see what the change is. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have a change of 5, and if it's moving in that direction, it's positive, and if it's moving in that direction, it's negative. All right, just like these numbers are less, right? These ones are negative. And we go that way, it's going to be positive. So it's going to be a positive 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 run. As we said before, the slope is the rise over the run. So we can now substitute in these values that we found, rise over run, and say that our slope is equal to negative 5 over 5, and that will reduce down to negative 1. And earlier we said a negative slope will be going down from left to right. We see that that's the case. Okay? So we can kind of do a quick evaluation and see, do we at least have the positive or negative correct? So in this case, it's a negative slope. It is moving down from left to right, and it's moving at the rate of negative 1. There's another way to find slope. If you're not given a graph, and instead you're given 2 points, you can find the slope using these 2 points and the equation that we looked at earlier. So let's go ahead and do that. This equation says y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I like to color code things a little bit here. So y2 will be the y value in the second point. All right? And y1 will be the y value in the first point. All right? x2 will be the x value in the second point. And x1 will be the x value in the first point. All right? Oops, didn't highlight that guy. There we go. All right, so we're going to substitute these values right into this equation. You'll get an equation that looks like this. Negative 7 minus 7 over negative 5 minus negative 2. And we'll solve that equation. Negative 7 minus 7 will give us negative 14, and negative 5 minus negative 2 gives us a negative 3. Negative 14 over negative 3 is also equal to a positive 14 over positive 3. So we end up with a positive slope of 14 over 3. It rises 14 points for every 3 points that it runs or it goes forward. So it's a pretty steep slope. It's not a bad slope. All right, let's look at another question here. Again, we're given 2 points, 2, 6, and 4, negative 9. We're going to substitute these values right into this equation. y2 is negative 9, so that's going to go in for y2. y1 is the y value of point number 1, so that's 6. So we'll have negative 9 minus 6. And x2 is the x value in point number 2. So 4 goes there. And x1 is the x value in the first point, so 2. All right, and when we do this, negative 9 minus 6 will give us negative 15, and 4 minus 2 gives us a positive 2. 15 over 2 is going to be our final slope. We can't reduce that fraction down any further. So it's a negative slope of 15 over 2. All right? Essentially, you can write the same thing down twice, I guess, or not. All right, so that's our final slope, negative 15 over 2. When you're looking at slope, I just want to point out that this type of question requires a little bit of practice and work. So what I suggest you do is to go through several practice questions, and once you do, and you can make up your own points and plug them into this equation, you'll find you do the same thing over and over and you'll get really good at it. You'll be really quick at finding the slope. So have fun practicing, have fun thinking about slope. If any of you go skiing, have fun on the slopes, and I'll see you soon.